5G is a weapon. It's used by the military. Do you know these 5G millimeter wave technologies are used to scatter crowds? You know, they drive up in this technology when they want to scatter a cloud, and they put out these frequencies.
The world is aching for this information, and they're looking for answers to all these problems in the world. Are you feeling that more than ever?
Oh, big time. I was looking around and observing people and observing events, and it was very clear that although there was not this vast number of people that were saying, oh, there's a conspiracy or whatever, they were uncomfortable about the world. They were uncomfortable about what was happening. They couldn't articulate why they were uncomfortable, but they didn't like it. They felt uneasy about it. And so I started out on this speaking tour to basically say to those people, this is why you're feeling uneasy, because this is why these events are happening. They're not random, they're happening by actually long planned design. And when people hear another explanation of the world, which instead of presenting the world as a series of random dots, but actually connects them and says that's happening because of that, and that's happening because of that, and that's connected to that, and that's connected to that, and this is where they're all leading us. It's extraordinary to see the lights go on, and people go, and actually this makes far more sense than what I've got from the mainstream media. So it is a time of great challenge, because this thing is moving, not least into the technological level of control. But there's such a difference between what you see in the mainstream, what you see coming from people who dominate the microphones, and what you get when you talk to people in the general population, that they do not see life the same way. Not least because the more they observe the real world that they're told to believe in, the less sense it makes, the more ridiculous it is. So there has to be other explanations, and people are more open to them. 5G is a weapon. It's used by the military. Do you know these 5G millimeter wave technologies are used to scatter crowds? You know, they drive up in this technology when they want to scatter a cloud, and they put out these frequencies in a much higher power than 5G will be initially with us, but the same frequencies. And people scatter because they get the feeling their skin is on fire. Because the human body, including the skin, is an antenna. It interacts with frequencies, and it receives and transmits information. At the cutting edge of understanding of DNA, scientists know that DNA is a receiver-transmitter of information. And so we are electromagnetic, electrical organisms, transmitters and receivers of information. When our electromagnetic fields are in balance and harmony, we have health. We have psychological health, and we have physical health. The reason that this technological society is causing so much psychological and quote, physical disease is because these frequencies, technologically driven, and we live in this Wi-Fi world now, and all the phone masts and all the rest of it, these technologically generated frequencies are scrambling the balance of the human electromagnetic electrical communication systems. And if you scramble them, you create a state of disharmony, dis-ease, which plays through to physical and mental, emotional, psychological dis-ease. I say this to kids and anybody else. How long could you live without your smartphone? And then ask, what is an alcoholic? What, an alcoholic is someone addicted to alcohol? Yeah. Why is he addicted to alcohol? Because he can't stop drinking it. Yeah. But you can't put your phone down. And if you do, within a few minutes you pick it up again, because you're addicted to it. So Are you controlling that bit of technology in your hand, or is that controlling you? That's controlling you. So, do you want your life controlled by a bit of technology? Do you want the rest of your life controlled by it? Or are you now going to go, I'm putting this down? The brain processes information electrically. It communicates with the cellular structure electrically. And it operates within a certain band of frequency. If you can broadcast frequencies carrying information, this technology's long been known, carrying information and perceptions within the frequency that the brain decodes information, the brain will decode those frequencies and will have those perceptions. You can externally, even without connection to AI, although that's the piece de resistance, if you like, that's the kind of holy grail. But even before that, you can influence people's perceptions externally by broadcasting these frequencies that we interact with, because we are antenna. If technology is going to be the servant rather than the governor, it has to serve the interests of humanity, and humanity does not have to serve it. We're in a situation now where humanity is serving technology. And it will be serving AI. Increasingly, it is serving AI in its algorithmic expression. Every thought, every emotional response is a frequency. It generates a frequency, and it is of itself a frequency. Hate is a frequency, and it's different to love. You know, when you are in a room and there's lots of aggression and conflict and hatred, you feel it. What do people say? Oh God, you can cut the atmosphere with a knife in there. That is because the frequencies of hate and conflict have been so generated, they have changed the electromagnetic field of the room.
Okay, so 5G is going to be weaponized against us potentially.
Yeah, but the point being that they worked out the frequencies of various emotions, including rage and what have you. And basically, they can play across a community these frequencies without anyone knowing, and it starts to have an effect. And you find there is very, very little that won't wait till you're on a landline, and you can have a proper conversation with someone without this burning your brain and without you constantly on it. Because what is happening, and this cabal knows this, for a very long time, indeed right up to recent times, science believed that once the brain was formed, that was it. That's how it stayed. Now they know it's very different through this thing they call brain placidity. Brain placidity means the brain is changing in the way it processes information and the neuron networks it creates to process information on the basis of information received. So what we've had in this very short time is the human brain bombarded with digital electrical stimulus that it's never experienced before. 5G doesn't travel well because of the nature of its frequency. So instead of big towers, as we have now, broadcasting these frequencies long distances, it won't do that. And it doesn't go through solid objects, what we call solid objects, very well either. So to overcome that, there are going to be boxes broadcasting 5G, this weapon, down every street, all over the world. You're talking phenomenal numbers of these boxes, broadcasting like on the lamp standard outside your children's bedroom and stuff, broadcasting this stuff. There's no way you'll be able to go where you won't be in a field of 5G. It's changing the human brain. It's changing the way the brain processes information, and how we process information dictates our perception of reality. And people might not realize why they're feeling it, but they start to feel it. And then what they do is they trigger that with an event, maybe some guy is attacked by the police or something, or somebody's arrested for something they didn't commit, and now there's the trigger. The blue touch paper's been lit of this manufactured frequency-driven rage, and you have mass riots and what have you, and people do things that they wouldn't normally do. And you can make people depressed. You know, the American military, they've admitted this. They have technology that fires frequencies at the enemy that basically breaks the enemy's spirit, so they give up and put their weapons down, because you're not supporting them going down this road of technological control. So when people say there's nothing I can do, I'm just little me, first of all, you're not little me, that's just your perception of yourself. But there's endless things we can do. The question is, are we going to do them? And that answer to that question will decide if we end up in this technological dystopia or whether we don't. And we better start making the choice quick, because it's moving